Of royal and aristocratic families occupied the top floor. All the way up the twisting staircase we went, barely able to get a foothold on the narrow steps, round and round and round, until at last we came out, abruptly, into a big, bare room. Arrows of light from the slit windows lay at intervals across the floor, leaving the corners of the room in shadow. Slowly, we looked around, selecting places to sit and spread our belongings, and start trying to create some semblance of a home. At first it felt cool, but then, as the sun rose higher, it became hot and stuffy. Airless. Within a few hours, the smells of sweaty bodies, of milk, baby shit and menstrual blood had become almost unbearable. Babies and toddlers grew fretful in the heat. Mothers laid the youngest children on sheets and fanned them while their older brothers and sisters ran around, overexcited, not really understanding what was going on. A couple of boys, 10 or 11 years old, too young to fight, occupied the top of the stairs and pretended to drive back the invaders. The women kept looking at each other, dry-mouthed, not talking much, as outside the shouts and cries grew louder, and a great hammering on the gates began. Again and again, that battle cry rang out, as inhuman as the howling of a wolf. For once, women with sons envied those with daughters, because girls would be allowed to live. Boys, if anywhere near fighting age, were routinely slaughtered. Even pregnant women were sometimes killed, speared through the belly on the off chance their child would be a boy. I noticed Ismene, who was 4 months pregnant with my husband's child, pressing her hands hard into her stomach, trying to convince herself the pregnancy didn't show. In the past few days, I'd often seen her looking at me. Ismene, who'd once been so careful never to meet my eyes, and her expression had said, more clearly than any words, "It's your turn now. Let's see how you like it." It hurt. That brash, unblinking stare. I came from a family where slaves were treated kindly, and when my father gave me in marriage to Mynes the king, I carried on the tradition in my own home. I'd been kind to Ismene, or I thought I had, but perhaps no kindness was possible between owner and slave, only varying degrees of brutality. I looked across the room at Ismene and thought, yes, you're right. My turn now. Nobody was talking of defeat, though we all expected it. Oh, except for one old woman, my husband's great-aunt, who insisted this falling back to the gate was a mere tactical ploy. Mynes was just playing them along, she said, leading them blindfolded into a trap. We were going to win, chase the marauding Greeks into the sea, and I think perhaps some of the younger women believed her. But then that war cry came again, and again, each time closer, and we all knew who it was, though nobody said his name. The air was heavy with the foreknowledge of what we would have to face. Mothers put their arms round girls who were growing up fast but not yet ripe for marriage. Girls as young as 9 and 10 would not be spared. Ritza leant across to me. Well, at least we're not virgins. She was grinning as she said it, revealing gaps in her teeth caused by long years of childbearing, and no living child to show for it. I nodded and forced a smile, but said nothing. I was worried about my mother-in-law, who'd chosen to stay behind in the palace rather than be carried to the citadel on a litter. Worried, and exasperated with myself for being worried, for if our situations had been reversed, she would certainly not have cared about me. She'd been ill for a year, with a disease that swelled her belly and stripped the flesh from her bones. Finally, I decided I had to go to her, at least check she had enough water and food. Ritza would have gone with me. She was already on her feet, but I shook my head. "I won't be gone a minute," I said. Outside, I took a deep,